All right, for our first in-person guest today, I would like to invite up Mr. King Ao, who is the Executive Director of the Financial Services Development Council.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's really my honor to be here today. I'm also very nervous because this is the first time that I'm speaking at a blockchain event. I'm not a technician, not a technology expert. But what I would like to share with you is what I think the importance of blockchain to the financial services industry in Hong Kong. But let me start with a bit of marketing. FSDC is a policy think tank that was set up by the Hong Kong government back in 2013, acting as a bridge between the financial services industry and the government. So we have been given 3 mandates. Definitely policy research first. We have published 52 papers over the years with over 180 policy recommendations. So far, our adoption rate is around 72%. So it has actually been coming down because we put forward roughly 30 to 40 policy recommendations a year to the government. On top of that, we also do market promotion, promoting Hong Kong as an international financial center globally. So this event definitely serves that purpose. Last but not least is talent development. So I hope I'll have an opportunity to work with you all to provide training to university graduates and young professionals on blockchain technology in future. So now coming back to today's talk. As a result of Bitcoin's high public profile, blockchain has become largely synonymous with cryptocurrency. But blockchain is actually much more than just crypto. I'm actually speaking to the converts here, as we all recognize the underlying blockchain technology's potential beyond its original use of record trustness, peer-to-peer transfers of value. Blockchain applications have grown with current use cases such as smart contract, NFTs, decentralized finance, supply chain management, asset registers, and record-keeping tools, just to name a few, which are being used in many sectors of the real economy, ranging from finance to healthcare. I have to start with cybersecurity, because we published a paper on cybersecurity for Hong Kong's financial services industry last June. That's the first time I realized how important blockchain to financial services industry is. The decentralized, consensus-driven, trustless nature of blockchain makes it naturally resilient to attack. But those blockchain solutions utilizing proof-of-work validation methods such as Bitcoin, for example, obviously we make it difficult for hackers, famous 51% attack. But nevertheless, it's still possible. And then we also look at the many distributed denial of service attacks exploiting the internet domain name servers, such as DNS, which map IP addresses to readable website names. By moving DNS to blockchain, resources can be spread to multiple nodes, making it difficult, if not infeasible, for attackers to control the database. Just building databases or applications on blockchain won't necessarily make them invulnerable. Hackers are nothing if not persistent. And with government increasingly engaging in cyber warfare, they are formidable adversaries. The process of building blockchains can be enhanced through artificial intelligence to detect and prevent malicious manipulation of data. An AI purpose-built to secure a system or database can be implemented on more distributed model as a blockchain application that doesn't require trusted nodes to remain intact. So, looking forward to a decentralized future, distributed denial of service data breaches, ransom attacks, social media phishing, and even direct cryptocurrency mining attacks are all on the rise, costing victims hundreds of billions of dollars each year. The growing frequency, sophistication, size, and financial consequences of cyber attacks have the public increasingly concerned, with both government and private organizations looking for ways to keep up with constantly evolving threats. By decentralizing assets, applications, and security infrastructure using blockchain, it may be possible to stop fighting hackers on their terms and beat them at their own games. Now, we talk about data. We have to look at data security. There are actually tensions between blockchain technology and common data privacy requirements. Many regulators have not focused on blockchain technology and its uniqueness when drafting the data privacy laws and frameworks. Some blockchain technology features can help mitigate or cater to privacy concerns, such as using encryption and verifying data integrity. However, blockchain technologies distributed peer-to-peer network architecture often places it at odds with the privacy laws such as GDPR, CCPA, or China's PIPL, which are based on traditional notion of centralized controller-based data processing. This disconnect can make it difficult to reconcile current data protection laws with blockchain's other core elements, such as the lack of centralized control, immutability, and perpetual data storage. Regulatory guidance on recognizing this and other potential conflicts is currently limited. Handling data privacy issues and properly applying laws increasingly contribute to a business venture's success or failure, including those that use blockchain technology, of course. Some important tensions between blockchain technology and data privacy requirements to consider include territorial implication for distributed blockchain networks, when cross-border data transfers occur and potential restrictions on them, applying criteria for legitimate reasons for processing personal data to blockchain use cases, recognizing transaction immutability and data preservations in blockchain applications with individuals' rights, different perspectives on anonymity and pseudonymity and how they affect the applicability of various data protection and privacy laws, how to identify data controllers and data processors in various blockchain technology implications. So you can see there are a lot of tension, but they can be addressed, surely. The applicability of most data privacy laws depends first on whether the activities in question involve the processing of personal data, blockchain implications that expressly record personal data on the blockchain are clearly subject to laws regarding personal data. However, whether the data some of these blockchains record, process, or use to manage transactions qualifies as personal data varies. For example, a popular claim for blockchain is that public-private key encryption preserves anonymity and privacy. Well, this is a rather simplistic view of personal information that may not hold up under privacy law definitions, because methods exist for linking individuals to public keys by analyzing blockchain transactions and other publicly available data. Some businesses offer services to identify individuals using their public keys, blockchain transactions, and other available data. Some regulators also take a broad view of personal information that includes online identifiers without specific definitions, or unique identifiers that encompass persistent or probabilistic identifiers that can be used to identify a particular consumer or device. Another piece of marketing, we've been working on a research titled Data Hub Policy for GBA, which I hope will be published in Q4, addressing the data connectivity between GBA, Hong Kong, and the rest of the world. So hopefully I'll have your expert advice once the paper is published. Well, we talk about data, we have to talk about smart contract, because that's one of the unique features of blockchain. Smart contracts enables transactions to be made end-to-end without the intervention of third parties, intermediaries, or even the law. It provides a medium for complete freedom of interaction in principle. Well, whether this is the same as freedom of contract, I'm not sure. My question for you is whether smart contracts are legally enforceable, either because the parties do not want to be, and or because the courts do not recognize them as being so. Conventional contract law in its current form is unlikely to be fully applicable to smart contract disputes. In practical terms, smart contracts differ from conventional contracts in quite a few ways. The entire life cycle of a smart contract, from formulation to execution, occurs online, literally. The life cycle need not at any point involve any entity other than the contracting parties. So performance is automated and carried out by the machine, following programmable instructions. So smart contracts are immutably recorded and programmed on a distributed ledger and cannot be altered. This is very important because ratification is impossible, unlike conventional contract. Because you have to start a new smart contract, right, if you want to make any changes. So how does current law apply? A smart contract can perform in a situation in which there's algorithmically determinable solution. In other words, there's no room in smart contract for discretion, reasonableness, or judgment. Potential outcomes will just be binary in form. So smart contracts created entirely in code behave more like conduct than words. The words of the code are in themselves actions. They actually have an effect on the real world, not through interpretation of their meaning, but directly. In some way, code, when it is part of a distributed ledger, acts directly on the world through its execution without any medium of interpretation. To work out what a piece of code means, you do not read it, you run it. This is no room for doubt that the legal rights and obligations intended to be created correspond to the actions undertaken by the code. The code is no more than those actions set down in frozen form. The obligations coincide with the code in the same way that the obligations coincide with the contract in a contract entered into by conduct. Interpretation appears in this context to be superfluous. I'm sorry that it's being a bit technical, but in summary, the chain of reasoning is that part of the sentiment encapsulated in the slogan, the code is the contract, is true. Well, last but not least, we have to talk about blockchain and ESG, right? You talk about energy consumption, but hopefully with the advance of technology, or maybe even using fiat currency instead of crypto for running blockchain, one day we may solve this problem. But there are a lot of applications. Tokenizing green securities could be groundbreakingly useful for many reasons. For example, blockchain technology and digital securities can drive efficiencies depending on the degree of innovation adopted. There's a case study in Hong Kong. The Bank of International Settlements Innovation Hub Hong Kong Center and Hong Kong Monetary Authority are collaborating on Project Genesis, a green finance project for the tokenization of green bonds using blockchain technology. The project will leverage blockchain, smart contracts, Internet of Things, and digital assets for green bond distribution and improving transparency on the use of proceeds. So blockchain can also support a range of other important functions for green finance. For example, blockchain-enabled reporting tools allowing companies to generate ESG reports that demonstrate their ESG credentials. Blockchain-enabled smart readers can be used to track renewable energy from the point of generation to the point of trade, bringing new end-to-end levels of visibility. Blockchain can also replace paper-heavy bills of lading in trade finance through the use of smart contracts on the blockchain, allowing for faster and more efficient transaction through, as mentioned earlier by Min Zhong. So real-time review of purchase agreement and terms of credit, for example, can all be done online. So I'm not going to go through all the salient points, but I trust you got the idea. So today, ESG standards have largely had an indirect impact on blockchain, providing some opportunities for blockchain and smart contracts to support ESG initiatives as a technological tool or by shaping choices by reference to the environmental impact of a particular application of blockchain. There's one last example I want to cite, that is carbon trading. By moving the voluntary carbon market onto a blockchain and publicly tying each credit to metadata attesting to its quality and origin, the carbon credit offset market will become fully transparent and highly liquid. Regulators will also be able to track claims of carbon neutrality directly back to the source. So, given the importance of carbon trading, we have just initiated a research report on carbon market opportunities, which will study various blockchain-based carbon credit trading scenarios in Hong Kong. There are millions of blockchain networks in existence. However, to me, these are all isolated islands in some ways, and we need to establish a global air traffic network to connect these islands to fully utilize the potential of blockchain technologies. On this note, I think BSN is a very interesting concept and technology. I very much look forward to learning from all the expert speakers this afternoon on how to build the next generation of the internet. Thank you very much.